What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of No Client Agent Privilege, a.k.a. No Cap Podcast. You're here with your boy, Evan Lawford, your boy, Will, and today, our special guest, T.J. Clark.
Yes, sir.
What is good, my man? It's only
on?
been 2 years of hanging out and talking on the phone to now
Yes,
we
sir.
finally get to hang out in person and everything. So here we are, Summer League. You know, everyone's eyes are on the young boys, and you're about as young and hungry and, I mean, tenacious as a truly first American pro to go the non-traditional college to pro route since the Kobe's and the LeBrons and everything like that. So give us a little bit about where you stand with the whole process that you just dealt with, going from OTE, how you loved that, and then transitioning now to another pro of the top tier level, and really give us the kind of insight of how you felt OTE benefited you compared to the traditional route.
Yeah, so first, of course, when OT came out, a certain amount of us committed there or whatever. Most people didn't think it was a good decision, of course, but that's normal. But I feel like OT helped me in a way that it's stuff that you get there that you couldn't get in an NBA facility, a college facilities, things like that. So, like, just access to the gym. We got Noah's, shooting machines, and then even beyond that. So, of course, everybody know we got paid at OT.
Right.
But they don't just give us money and let us go. Like, we took money management classes, class on how to save money. So, like, it was just the little things that really add up and,
made you a pro. I mean,
sir.
that is legitimately, I mean, when it comes down to what OTE was truly trying to get to is how many French guys were drafted this year? You know,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So, like,
God.
they're starting out 16 and going pro.
Yeah.
You know, like the Lucas of the world, where we sit here and we've had the conversation before where the international side, what are we doing wrong on the American side? Because here we go, we're not, I don't want to say losing draft picks, but we're falling behind the 8 ball, even though we've had the top guys, still get drafted. But we go and we have leagues like Overtime Elite now where we can send our best at 15, 16. AAU, we get our tournaments in and stuff. But now we can go against pros. You guys had international teams come in and play you guys.
For sure.
Like, you played Rob. Like, you played pros that were already pros. Like, so for you, I mean, do you think that transition would be the better route than the traditional college route?
I mean, well, personally, my opinion is it really depends on what type of person you are. So, like, for example, you have me, Jay Gore, like these type of players, like, we down and gritty. So, like, we're not gonna look for a handout. We're not gonna expect this. I mean, you got to earn it. So, like, everything I gotten, I earned it. And I feel like if you don't go to OT looking to, like, get better or know that you have to do something to get to the next level, it wouldn't go as well. But everybody that was around me, we all work hard. We was on time. We did the little things, and I feel like that's the difference. Like, you just gotta want it, and you gotta go work for it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and especially when it comes to now you're in the G League status where you're going from Overtime Elite. Guys are younger. It's not like you're playing the 25-plus-year-old 6-year vets in the G League. Where now you had that. I mean, you were with your brother. I mean, that whole experience as a whole, and I mean, really, I mean, you're probably one of few guys that have been able to feel that out at this young of age, except for maybe a couple of guys on the Ignite. Like, other than those types of guys, you were really the first group of guys to feel this type of process out. So, I mean, for you, it's great to see you in here and now finally, getting your chance to shine. I mean, even though it's only been, 2 years, it's not like you've been a 5-year vet or nothing, but it's great that you're finally getting to transition from, pro to another pro to now you're actually, playing in these Summer League games. I mean, you saw that arena. That arena was slammed.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy to think where even for when I started as an agent to see Summer League, how it's changed and getting to come up here for ourselves and have guys on like you just to come in and kind of give your experience and talk about how different it is for you guys. And it's great to hear your guys' stories and really, hope nothing for the best for you. I mean, you always got a fan in me.
Yes, sir.
You can tell Mom, she can call me all the time. I love talking to that lady.
Yes,
She's
sir.
great. So, but no, really appreciate you and, really wish you the best of luck the rest of the Summer League ways. And, again, we'll be behind you no matter what, and we'll finish out here. And really, any last words to any of those kids that you think that are on the brink of OTE going to college? You know, any words of advice to them?
Only thing I would say is no matter how much you succeed, never let up. Keep working, keep your head down, just focus on what's in front of you. You go a long way.
Perfect.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
T. Man, I appreciate you. I know
Appreciate
you had kind of rushed over just to get off the game and everything.
We appreciate
so
you, bro. Good
so
seeing you.
we'll let you get out of here and you go get showered up and hang
Yes,
out
sir,
for the day.
for
so
sure.
enjoy your day. You guys are off tomorrow, right? You don't play
well,
tomorrow.
we got practice.
You got
But
practice.
we ain't got
right.
no game.
No game. All right, that's what I thought. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll let you go. We'll hang out here for a few more. And great having TJ on with us and really getting to hear his experience as a player and as a young player too, getting to hear everything about him and what he's been going through, especially going from the overtime elite to the G League and being proud. Him and his group are the first guys to do that. So really, being able to hear his story and really get to the grind, like he says, because he is a defensive-minded, grinded-out type player. So
absolutely.
Summer League for him to showcase his skill set, I feel like that's the kind of guys that need these Summer League type games.
Yeah, I mean, even, you look at things like Overtime Elite, and it's like you see all this social media exposure too. Extra,
they kill it.
Obviously, colleges have all this exposure too. You have people that run
Huge
their
fan
social media
bases.
accounts, but Overtime is something that I kind of, grew up on.
I was gonna say
too.
you were the first group of kids that actually got to follow
Right,
it as
and
it
now
grew.
the evolution of it and seeing guys like that, and he's playing
Crazy.
here. Other people see that. Other
1-2
kids see
years,
that.
all of a sudden.
At the same time, I kind of wanted to ask him, but
why didn't you ask him?
Nah, but foregoing
That's why we have the man on here.
Right, but foregoing your college experience. You know
Fair
what
enough.
I mean? Because I loved my college experience. Not that I played or anything, but being an athlete at college.
Yeah,
and
it's a
all
whole
the,
different lifestyle.
The glamour and all that stuff.
Of course.
To really just say I want to focus on hoops. I want to focus on basketball.
It's a bold statement, or it's
Right.
a bold lifestyle choice.
Well, it's also kind of betting on yourself in a way. Even though he
better
got
believe
paid,
it.
even though he got paid, we have NIL, revenue sharing is coming up now.
Well, remember when he first started, NIL wasn't even approved yet.
Right.
So he was the first group before
Right.
NIL took Overtime
Well,
Elite.
that's another reason why something like OTE is more beneficial. But I definitely think in the future there's going to be more outlets like OTE, like even the NBL. You have that, and also like you said,
they've
overseas.
got the NBL All-Star or the Young
Right.
Stars now too.
Right.
So the Australian, they're trying to compete with their young players staying at the young players status. So, but I mean, I think you brought up a good point with like other entities kind of creating leagues like that, like a summer league type program or even an entirety of a smaller league. You got to have the funding though. Look how much OTE. I mean, OTE was lucky enough to have such a great and large funding to create an entire arena, 5 teams or 6 teams, and some of the best of the country. So it's like for them, that's a rarity of a as
they
a
couldn't have
company.
done it without building the foundation that they had
Yeah,
first.
no doubt.
You know what I mean?
No
Like
doubt.
that's why saying that other outlets like OTE are to come, it all depends on what kind of foundation they really build in order to support what they want to do and what kind of talent they want to showcase on the floor.
Well, also everything we do is copycat. Every league is copycat. Everyone does it the same as everyone else. So it's like.
But it's good that there's extra channels adding to the farm and the flow because of pro progression. Because we talk about like in college they have all these statistics. Like I don't know the exact numbers, but there's so many high school players that don't make it to college, but they might be good enough to play in college basketball, football, for basketball because 15-man roster, whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you have these other, outlets and that lets not only does it let them showcase their talents elsewhere, but it also gives somebody else a chance that might really be that next.
Yes,
that next
agreed.
person.
That I agree with for sure because the outlet themselves with regards to being able to showcase talent. Now we're lucky enough to live in a social media type world where you can go to basically, I mean, a Ja Morant. We always kind of go back to him with the sense of the school, like not being big, but he has such a great career that it put him into the league. So, things like that where you're coming out of a Murray State. You might not have the NIL money, but you had the exposure in March Madness to get you over that hump of NIL.
But all these things, kind of put together, highlights how important something like the NBA Summer League is.
Yes.
It's not just let's get together and play basketball. This is a summit.
No, this is everybody and anybody who is even the guys that aren't playing that are here.
Right.
It shows the value of why we're here.
Right.
Why as agency, spectators, just friends, rooting for other friends. It is legitimately because this is the mecca of the basketball world during the year. Because during the year, once this is over, everyone goes home for their few weeks. Summer League is done. Now, where do you sit in the world? Did you do enough on these courts to land you that next 10-day contract, that next two-way contract? Some of the stuff that these guys go through, you're playing on a team where you're in a position where, let's say, they've got 4 all-star guards or 2 all-star guards, and you're a guard behind them. Where do you like? You sit on the bench like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I know I'm not getting.
But that's where people like you, agents come in because they gotta make those moves. You know what I mean? Like, if you see that your player has a great amount of upside, a great amount of potential, but he's sitting behind a Kyrie Irving and a Luka Doncic.
TJ's a perfect example.
Exactly.
He's on the G League team, and it's no disrespect to his skill set because he is a great defender. He can bring it to the court every day. You're never going to have to worry about his work ethic. But then you just look at who's in front of him, and you're like, oh, well, I get it because it's Luka, Kyrie, and Klay Thompson.
Right. And there's still opportunity for a two-way contract.
Those two ways they make money, baby.
Or,
they make money.
Say, look, we're going to put you in the G League.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that's fine, too. But at the same time, obviously, everybody that's playing, all the players
need those opportunities.
They want to be on a roster.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously the NBA is the mecca of the world for basketball. You want to be in the association. It is what it is. But for those guys that are understanding in basketball mindset, know where they sit between a team roster, trying to make it, stuff like that. The opportunities here on the international scale to be able to go out, talk to a scout from Australia, talk to a scout from Lithuania, talk to a scout from Spain, Germany, China, all these opportunities. If you were not playing on a summer league team or had fresh film, there goes your opportunity. Those coaches are going to be the same guys that are like, when was the last time you played?
Yeah.
2022? 2 years ago, really? Oh, have you done anything else since then? Do you play? So having these opportunities to be able to just be here and be able to do, 1, 2, 3 games, 4 games if you make it through, are huge.
But that's another thing that you kind of just mentioned. As an agent as well, kind of if they don't, make it, or if they fall out, well, just like you said with the coach, like, oh, your film's from 2022. How do you make sure that they stay, like, you got to stay ready if you're serious about it?
So, and we've kind of dealt with this with other clients beforehand with regards to having outdated film.
It happens.
And really what we get down to is the fact that here we are, you're 2 years out, you haven't played. What do? You find something, maybe not Summer League, obviously, but a Pro-Am, a TBT, a TBL, whatever it may be, and you go and you play your ass off just to show that you were back on the field, just to show you were back on the legitimacy of, hey, I'm a ball player, I can play ball, like we're ready to go. Like, so that's all
that you're serious about.
And that's
it
all
too,
I can do as an agent. Like, as an agent, I have to be able to sit there and tell my client, hey man, the working out is great. I know you're grinding, I know you're working, but we have to get on the court. So
you gotta get in front of other people.
Going.
You could prove it to yourself all you want.
Yeah.
You could sit there.
You could be in the gym 3 hours
make
and
100 free throws in a row
all day.
And think,
99 for 100,
great,
baby.
But it's not gonna translate well if you don't have other people that think the same way as you. Yeah, obviously you want to think highly of yourself.
Of course.
When you're coming here, you need to have that confidence, that swagger.
No doubt.
But you do need other people behind you. You need other people to see you see you showcase
be able to grade you. Yeah, be able to really grade you on true not just participation, but actually with competition.
Absolutely.
So that's where I really and I think the NBA Summer League has really proved itself in the last decade, and it's the year 20 for them. So it's like 20 years later, we looked at this, conglomeration of it went from a couple teams to 8 teams to now all 30 teams are here. Even, trying to just, even the guys from the Ignite are all sporadic, placed out for them now that they're gone.
Right.
So it's like this opportunity for some of those guys are, life-changing, So, and even when you look at some of the guys that sit on the edge of the benches and stuff, like the pro guys that are already on, the fact that they're here to even support their cast is great, camaraderie towards if this guy ends up having a great summer league, damn. This kid, I watched him play a summer league.
That's great too. Like if a player's watching, one of their team play and they're seeing these summer league players, and they say, I like this kid. I like this
great
kid.
Game, young boy.
But that's big though to go to the coaches and be like, I really like this kid. I think that he could work well.
I think he fits in our system.
Right.
Like it's the same as quarterbacks throwing with random wide receivers. Hey, coach, I just threw with what's his name last weekend. I think we should bring him in for a workout.
And sometimes it's that easy.
Depending on who that quarterback is that's speaking.
And that all kind of ties back into why, stuff like Summer League is so vital to the NBA.
Yes.
The foundation of the NBA. It is the foundation of the NBA. Besides the draft.
Well, of course, that's the foundation for every league.
But this is the first chance they're really getting to.
If NFL, you can't do it because of the amount of body, like your body goes through with regards to football. But like this opportunity in general, like there are guys that, as we were going through the draft process this year, that I was looking at, that I'm like, wow, this guy's going to be a stud in the NBA, in the NBA. And then he doesn't even get picked up by a summer league team. It's like, am I wrong? Are they wrong? Who's the one in the wrong? Maybe nobody's wrong. Maybe he just tested wrong. Maybe he didn't do well at his pro day. A lot of that stuff, all these variables. And as an agent, I'm rattling off in my head. You see my scouting reports.
Yeah.
Like, how impactful they can be off of 1, 2, 3 games in a game, in an important game, and we go through stats, and all of a sudden, why did he not get drafted? He had a great season.
Even here we see it. Other people have talked about it. You might go out there and score 20 or 30. You might, but if your game, if that's one part of your game, you got to look at it.
Yep.
Holistically, you're not playing defense. You're not doing the little things. You're not really gonna.
You show inconsistencies.
Everybody else
can
score
thing.
too. You know what I mean?
Dude, we're a scoring league. There's guys here that are gonna score 30 plus, 25 plus points, and never see an NBA court after this season.
Right, but you got somebody maybe 8 points a game, but he's gonna get the boards and he's gonna play defense without fouling because.
You get 10 fouls in summer league.
Right, but
let's hope you don't get that
I'm talking
many.
about when you think about what he's going to do on the NBA floor, like a real, NBA floor. You don't want him to rack up those fouls, but you want him to play solid defense.
And you want to put pressure on ball all the time because we know the league. Once somebody gets hot, they get hot. Like we just watched the kid go for what? 20 points in the fourth quarter.
Josh Christopher just had
20 points in the fourth quarter. Like, come on now.
On my Thunder, too.
Yeah,
on my Thunder. That's crazy.
Those Heat boys.
But, that kind of also, how important Summer League is holistically. But to every single individual team, it might not hold as the same weight because we know teams, OKC is a good example. They draft very well.
They do.
And
look at Jalen, and Jalen were on the court on the sidelines today.
Right. But I can't remember because I've followed Thunder basketball for a while now. I can't remember their summer league teams really being outstanding. You bring some of the summer league teams here are very good and they bring it.
Look at the Celtics. Their Celtics are playing with the Lakers right now, right behind us, and like their Celtics team is wildly good.
Yeah.
Like they could honestly be an entire NBA team of its own. They have NBA G League All-Stars. They have young core group guys that are playing like a lot of stuff that, like, again, if they weren't playing for Summer League, where it would be, I got to go overseas. I got to go international because this opportunity is so vital. And I think that's kind of the nail in the coffin with regards to that because, again, just even hearing the roars, even with Bronny James and Dalton, you know, guys like that, like that game means a lot more to the scouts, the coaching staffs and stuff like that, because it's in the big arena. It's a lot of pressure. It's the last game of the night. It's probably the first game that everyone is playing everybody. So for them to, you know, be able to, hey, guys, we need not only to win, because you don't like to lose, but I mean, again, how many of those summer league teams with studs like that go out and have a championship roster above them as well?
Right,
like,
and it's like the real game simulation. Like obviously, you like we said, you can't do it. You can't do something like this in football, but you could do it with soccer. You could do it with baseball.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have this.
No, because
you're not gonna have a packed arena. You're not gonna have a packed arena. Real game. Pressure.
It's
scenarios.
because
the
these
lights,
kids are
the
also
stage.
fighting for those rosters. Those 12, 11, or 12, 13, 14, 15 man. You know, those teams that only have 12 guys on a roster. Those
Most
guys,
of them have 13.
Yeah, exactly. So
but
it's like,
still, being the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th, what are you gonna do when your name gets called?
Hello.
And you got to be ready.
If you're not here, I can promise you, you're probably not getting that call unless you're a vet. A vet could probably get away. But if you are a young boy with 0 to 2 years of experience, you are probably not going to get that call to say, hey, we want you to come back after not playing for 2 years.
It's funny because a lot of these kids just got drafted, or this is their first time doing this. But you also gotta act like you've been here before.
You gotta act like a pro. TJ brought that perfect example.
Right.
He was used to what these practices were like. He is used to running the system like a pro because Overtime Elite gave him that aspect. Where college, you play systems, like you play different roles in college. Like it's almost a completely different game. You go from 2 halves to 4 quarters. He's used to playing 4 halves. Like, yeah, it's only 10 minutes here, but he was still in the G League last year and played those types of quarters. So for him, he was a perfect example of why maybe for those top tier guys like the Overtime Elite drafts and brings in, that was what fit him best versus the traditional college 1 and done, 2 years, like Rob Bellingham, you know, things like that. You know, so really, again, for him, that could have been the best situation for him, for his family. Other guys, you might have to do a year of college. You're probably never going to go to college, though, and regret it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're that good. If you're that good, that's what I mean.
No.
Like,
if you're good enough to start on a, you know,
that's
a college,
obviously that's
Division
true
I
too.
college basketball roster, you know, whether it be Murray State or Duke, you know, if you're doing that,
you're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But
you gotta
systems is what you're in as well.
Consistency as well. It's got to be able to translate. This is not necessarily the same.
Yeah, I mean, like we just talked about, the guys that score the 30 points, the 25
right, it's
points.
Not all about that.
It might not even land you. You could have had 3 30-point games, and it still might not land you on a roster only because really that consistency was not either against top tier, you know, opponents, or it could have been late in the game where you were already blowing a team out. Like, there's a lot of variables. Right. But again, the consistency to those guys that are 8, 7, and 5 and have a 6-point plus minus ratio, I'm going to probably take that guy if I know the other 3 games that this guy played, he was -6 or -8. You know, like he's on the court and he's costing us points. That scares me as a coach. I can't have that as a coach and being like, oh, yeah, I'm okay with him being on the court because he can score. I've got guys that can score. The whole league is based off guys that can score. So I think for us, looking at it from the age perspective too, you got to be ready to, you know, you got to be ready to have that call. Hey, yo, we're going to this country. You need to be ready. Hey, the Dallas called. We need you. We need you for the 2-way. They
gotta stay
offered.
ready.
Yeah.
You gotta stay consistent.
Again,
you gotta stay focused, and that's a lot to do at a young age. You know, I'm not that old, but these guys are younger than me. You know,
20.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
20 dealing with this.
It's incredible how the NBA puts this on, and as well as how all these players really come here and a lot of them do thrive and they make a name for themselves. It's just so important. So
well, they're lucky enough that the exposure has grown to be of this caliber too, because even 10 years ago, it was not up to this. Even, what was I, an age? I started in 2020, and that was COVID. We came out here, and people were still wearing masks and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was, you did not think, I can promise you, the GMs and everybody that I was talking to when we were out here that year, they did not think this was coming back. Like, they legitimately said, we're surprised everybody's here right now. Like, team-wise. Like, they were like, I honestly, like according to the leagues and what the memos that were coming out about Summer League, draft, all that stuff, they were not sure. Remember, what's it called? Oh, my God. The head guy for the NBA, Silvers.
Yeah.
He did the draft in his basement.
Yeah.
Like, that is absurd.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Like, we went from this to a draft in the basement.
Show must go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Show must go on.
And so, again, starting at that, talking to the guys that we talked to, and now we're here doing this every year. I mean, I saw the numbers. I think it was like 135 million in revenue for the NBA.
For just this.
For just this.
You can't do it without these people behind us walking behind us, all the fans and everything.
When we're looking at this, I mean, we're fans, and the fact that you're able to pay $60 for a ticket to watch
$60
all
for the
of
day,
this,
sit wherever you want.
Sit wherever you want, hang out,
with the chance of seeing,
everybody.
Real, the stars of the NBA.
The Memphis Dallas game we were just at. It was 3 out of the starting 5 for every team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you are not going to be able to go to any preseason game.
You're going to pay more for a meet and greet. Like if sure. I don't know, let's say you're in Dallas and then they're doing a meet and greet somewhere.
You're going to do $85 meet and greet.
You're probably going to pay more for that.
You could probably just walk up and down the hallway and get more signatures than anything else.
Pictures, signatures,
the
pictures,
boys are nice.
Like, pictures nowadays, people would rather have the picture than the autograph.
Sure. No, I agree with that. Unless you got the
card.
Unless
it's going on a jersey, a card, a ball,
unless you got one of those rocking, like that I agree with. But I think that's where our generation has come to with the social media side, being able to say, yo, I just met, TJ Clark, Rob Dillingham, all the new draftees, being able to do that and post it and actually, have them maybe, hey, remember you, hey, great meeting you, kid, like, good luck. Like TJ, what his words of wisdom to those types of kids. It's heartwarming to a lot of those kids that look at some of these guys. And I tell when they sign, I mean, you got to remember, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing an organization, you're representing an agency, you're representing your family, franchise. You have a $1 billion organization tatted on you from now on, wherever you go.
As long as you're in the league.
Well, of course, but as long as
you might forget you after.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. So being able to act accordingly.
Absolutely.
And we see what happens when you don't in other leagues and other people that have opportunities. You get this taken away from you, the fans, the guys, because people don't want their kids coming up to you and thinking you as a hero or a role model. So, you got to be on your P's and Q's once you hit this pro status. Even beforehand, even college now. Like I tell the college boys, like I was like, yo, do not make me have to get a call at 2 in the morning when I'm asleep. That is no. I don't want it. I don't want to hear it. My boys are, I tell them from the get-go, I don't want to hear those calls. I don't want to have a coach call me. I don't have it.
Especially now, that's the NIL. That's companies that are investing in you.
You better be very careful with that's money coming in your pocket.
That your family, whatever the situation is, obviously extra money in someone's pocket is always a good thing.
Hello, we were 3 years ago. We were begging, coaches to give us an extra piece of stipend to have the kids fed. It's crazy. Like now, even work with some of the guys that we work with, being able to, do these collectives and know that they're taken care of every month, sweat off my back. No, I know my boys are taken care of. So, again, it's been a great experience here. I mean, really, we've been blessed to have this opportunities, and thank you to you guys here for helping us set this up. It was a great experience. Really, Hall Pass put on a great setup here for Summer League Studio. And, I mean, for us, we were walking by and we said, hey, this looks like a cool setup. Let's see if we can get on it. So we ended up making connections. And that's what the world is all about, is making connections like this, because who knows what happens after this episode goes out. We're here.
Another gift of the NBA Summer League.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. But this was a great opportunity from the bottom of our hearts. Will, Evan, thank you so much for viewing. This is No Client Agent Privilege, a.k.a. No Cap Podcast. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.